I wanted to start the video with something wise and something comforting, but life has been handled recently. So I suggest I'm just going to look at you and you're going to look at me, and we exchange the deep understanding. Yeah, life is tough. Moin, dear people, old, new, my friends, the friends of my friends, my relatives, and anyone all over the world who found this channel and who thought that probably this content might be interesting for them. My name is Anna of Northern Germany that has now plunged into spring, and that means that my friend's dog abuses his blanket twice as much, and the public transport is now stinking. But whatever, I want to share a piece of good news in a row of meh news of my life. Because although I don't feel it yet, but I did quite a big thing, and I worked a lot for this thing to work out, although, yeah, nothing has changed yet. But I will explain what I'm talking about. And today I am a bit like a zombie because I haven't slept quite well for the past days, and today I also had to work on my face quite a lot, not because I felt fancy, but because otherwise I'm just not presentable. Because long story short, I'm going to talk about it in the next week because I'm done. I had a breakdown a couple of days ago, had a very tough therapy session on Friday, and I'm exhausted. And yeah, long story short, everything is happening at the same time, and I found a flat. Wow, but job center doesn't like this flat, but there is no chance that I will find another flat in the near future. So hopefully on Monday I will figure it out with the help of God and my background knowledge and with my savings that I did thanks to my friends. But yeah, I will be talking about it. I will elaborate on this topic in the next week because I will give myself a chance and also give this chance to you to relax a bit and lower the levels of anxiety, which are personally for me a bit skyscraper level high. But okay, today let's talk about some positive. And I finished a book. The book that I finished. Actually, if you have been watching me for a while already, there is an old video which is called I accidentally published a book or something like this, because I was still an asylum seeker those times, and I was really searching for opportunities for myself to participate in some kind of a contest, and I decided to participate in the contest of the local bookshop, but I'm not proud. It's like a book with short stories, and maybe they would be alright, but I was not mentally well. It also happened in the time when Alexei Navalny died, and the book happened to be very, yeah, hey, hooray, and very, very, very emotional. And I think I will agree on this matter with Virginia Woolf, and she says, I don't exactly remember what she said. I think it was in the room of one's own. She said that a woman needs her peace, her creation, her creativity must not come from anger. The woman must be able to write in peace, and I was far from being in peace, and not many of my friends actually looked into this book because I feel so ashamed of it. I don't know. But now I finally finished the second draft of my book. I'll tell you my relationships with writing. I will also tell you what the book is about. And now what? I already have a similar video with me getting a refugee status. Yeah, I will share my plans with you, what I'm planning to do now. And first of all, I'm going to tell you that I have a big problem with calling myself an author. I usually say a writer, survivor, fighter, a writer, because yeah, an author, it seems to be something very serious with a published book. And I have a lot of an imposter syndrome here, like many of us do, I think. And the problem is I consider myself a very creative, a very imaginative person. But of course, my writing depends on my mental state, although previously I believed that my depression inspires my writing. No. Virginia Woolf was a smart woman. Unfortunately, she didn't end well, but she was a very smart woman. To create, you need some peace in your soul. And until recently, I didn't have it. And when I was a child, I wrote a lot. I tried myself in fan fiction, but I was terrified of publishing it. We used the platform which is called Figbook. I think, what it is called in the English-speaking world? Wattpad or something like this. Yeah, we used Figbook. And I was just so scared that someone is going to read it and criticize it, because I believed that I wouldn't be able to handle it. And generally, I am a person who is very, very, very sensitive to comments. And now I'm building a shell around me, and now I have that protection of the diarrhea curse. But previously, I just couldn't I couldn't cope with the wave of the potential hate that probably wouldn't have appeared even. Because, as I had already mentioned in my video about YouTube, hate doesn't come immediately. But I was so terrified. And I enjoyed writing. I always loved reading. And sometimes I joke that when I grow up, I will be the second Stephen King. I will write horror stories, and not a single book of mine is going to finish positively. I thought that it was going to be my thing. Not a single book with a happy ending, because happy endings are dumb. I changed my mind, by the way. I don't think like this anymore, because now I assume that life is already terrifying a lot. That's why I believe that people deserve at least a milder happy ending in the book that they're reading. And that's why I now watch a lot of cartoons, because I cannot handle some deep, serious movies. But okay, whatever. I'm working on my mental health. I'm much better than I used to be before. And generally, I didn't see myself as an author because I just couldn't believe that it could happen, that I could have become an author, and I was sure that I had nothing to say, I didn't have enough experience, and all this stupid stuff, that we are this stuff is thrown into us. We are convinced that we are not good enough to try to write a book. But if we go into a bookshop, a random bookshop, and if we see all this abundance of books of different kinds, you can understand that if these people are capable of publishing a book, I'm also capable of publishing a book. But when I was little, I didn't believe in that. Of course, I believed that I need a stable job. I thought I will become an interpreter. Of course, I always dreamt big. I was thinking that I will be an interpreter in the European Parliament. Of course, in the European Parliament. And I had a dream of writing a book, and it was always at the back of my head. And when I was going to do my volunteering year, when I was only preparing, I thought I'll go there. For some reason, I thought that I would have time. I thought I would come there and I will write a book. Maybe one book, but the book. Did I write the book in France? Spoiler, no. We were overworked there. I still have many questions to the authorities of France and also to the ruling staff of my organization, volunteering organization, where I used to volunteer. And also, I fled from Russia and I was already in quite a deteriorated mental state. And also, to add up, in 2022, what happened? We all know what happened. Vladimir Putin, the leader of my wonderful homeland, although I don't accept him as the leader, decided to intrude, decided to attack neighboring country. And starting from that point, I felt like I was living in a book with an unclear ending, and I was living in a constant terror, like sheer terror. Everything that was going on around me, it was so unbelievably complicated and scary, but also fascinating. And I was very, very ill mentally, but at the same time, it was always like, I'm living in a book. I'm living in a terrifying book, but I'm living in a book. And at some point, I promised myself that if I go through this period, I will write a book. And when I moved to Germany, and I had a lot of time because it took quite some time for me to figure out my papers, because of course not much you can do without papers, and I wasn't allowed to work, and I was going insane. I was trying to do a lot of stuff. I was having like very, very serious anxiety disorder and lady depression. And I was at the edge of that. But at the same time, my anxiety didn't allow me to stop. That's how I was learning German by myself. And I started to write a book. But of course, and if I look at the first chapters of my book, you can see that I'm a very, very ill person. Not anymore, because it's already the second draft, but it was visible how poorly written they were, the first chapters, in comparison to the later chapters. And I didn't write a lot because I just couldn't. I didn't have strength. I didn't have enough energy, and I was dying. I was dying. And at some point when the situation escalated, and then I really needed a psychiatrist. And it was like I was really on the edge. And after that, when it escalated, reached its peak of the worst, and then it started to improve gradually, and this is how I started to write more successfully. That's when I started the blog on Medium, and I dedicated a lot of time to writing, and I'm still grateful to my blog on Medium because I think it helped me to develop my writing a bit, although yeah, English is not my native language and I still have a lot to do. But I also won't stop writing in English because although it's not my native language, I am dying. I'm like longing to write in English because it's my favorite language, and I think I can do that. I can do that, and I have some hopes related to my knowledge. And the first draft of my book was finished in 2023 around my birthday in November, and then quite some months when I had my asylum interview, 9 hours, very exciting. I was devastated. I was crying. I couldn't stop crying by the end of the interview. The building was already empty. There was no one. There was only my friend and my translator and my interviewer and 2 guards. There was no one else. Everyone left. It was dark completely. And till March, I didn't write. March 2024. And then I continued writing. I started the second draft, and of course at the same time I was recognized as a refugee and everything started to happen. So of course I had a lot of work done for me not to go crazy because I wanted to work on my book, but I still didn't have enough energy to juggle everything at the same time with my German course because I wanted to finish B1 fully. Although I could have written it by myself, but I still thought I need an assistance, and I had the right to get into the integration course. That's why not? And also you start looking at the opportunities, then you realize, yeah, well, you need to start out with something, you need to get rid of the job center at some point, you also need something that you do and that helps you to pay for your insurance, which is costly in Germany. And yeah, I worked through it with my psychologist because I always have this, I'm not doing enough, I'm not writing enough, and it took quite a lot of time to figure it out what is enough and to realize that enough is just, it's a fluid. You cannot really determine enough. Enough, it is as much as you have energy to perform it well. And I also was forced to learn to prioritize things and which things I should do first and which things I should postpone to later when I do have time and energy. And I'm still not perfect with that. And I still have this imposter syndrome because my book is based on my story. And it feels like, okay, maybe I'm not a real author because it's based on my story and only like some parts are invented, but it was inspired by my story. I should have invented something original, blah, 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 blah. But no, it's stupid. I think it's stupid, but I still have doubts. And also, of course, I sometimes have this, I must write faster, I must do this, I must do that. But I'm learning to love myself, prioritize my mental health, and it's a very long journey. And now the second draft is finished. And although on the day when I finished, it was Tuesday, previous Tuesday. I didn't really feel excitement, but I'm very proud of myself and I'm very happy that the book exists now. Now I need to read it, like the full book, by myself, and then I already have a couple of people who I would want to ask to read it out and to say their opinion. And then the third draft may appear, the fourth draft may appear, but I hope they will be already quicker than the second draft, because the second draft is like the canvas of the story, like proper canvas. And after that, I guess I will be acquiring my book. And I already heard about the horrors of acquiring. I already know I don't have illusions that I find an agent and will be published 100%. But I really want this book to exist. So even if I don't find an agent, I guess I will have to find a way to self-publish this book. And I also want to continue writing, although I also have these fears, like what if I run out of inspiration and I will never write again, and I will never write anything valuable again, or I will just write the same things again and again, or I will have to write for money's sake only, and it will be very, very low quality. I have so many fears, which probably all authors do. I'm calling for the authors. I still want to do some networking with authors, but I'm so exhausted. And fortunately now, fortunately, not fortunately, I don't know, the next 2 weeks I don't have my German course, but of course I will do German by myself because I want to pass B2. And I first, for a couple of days, I will prioritize figuring it out with the flat, which I am really motivated to have. And I will prioritize my rest because I am wasted. And yeah, I just wanted to share this piece of my life and my feelings about it. I think it will still take months for me to prepare for acquiring and to finish what needs to be done. But I am really, really excited. I'm really excited of this journey, and I hope that in the future I will be able to write more and I will be less anxious and more relaxed to write beautiful things, because sometimes I have inspiration to write beautiful things and sometimes I just want to lie and die. And it's also fine. Yeah. Thank you for watching, if anyone has watched it. As always, I'm with you. Some positive energy for you. Don't give up, because I'm not going to give up. I'm done. I'm very, very done, but I'm not going to give up. I'm going to do some relaxation days on the next week, and I wish you to take care of yourself. And if you are in the process of writing your book, or inquiry process, or in the publishing process, I wish you good luck from the depths of my heart. And I'm sharing the sun from my northern Germany and my +16 of my northern Germany, because I don't like when it's hot. Take some pieces of it, please. And love, love, and peace, peace of Anna of Northern Germany. Tschüss. Oh.